guys, welcome to the channel, and this is the very first speed build for my Santa Saturday series. I started it last year and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted it to be kind of a tradition that I do every year. So I hope you guys have fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to some of the builds later in the month. But I'm going to pull up a picture on screen now so you can see the schedule if you haven't seen it already. But first up is the cabin that I'm building today, and then it's going to be, I'm going to try and recreate the Christmas Story house from the movie. And then I'm going to do a winter wedding, and then a beachy, like, Floridian Christmas. So with the winter wedding, I was waiting on the snow mod to be updated, and I don't know if it's going to be updated in time. I'm hoping it will. So if it's not updated in time, then I'll have to figure something else out. Because it's kind of hard to do a winter wedding type of build without any snow. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so the first one is a cabin which I built in Granite Falls. So if you download this house and you want it to be, you know, in Granite Falls, you'll have to, of course, rent the daily rent to be able to go here in Granite Falls, because I don't think you can have residential lots in Granite Falls. I could be wrong, but I don't really think that's the case. Or you could just put it in, you know, a different world. I believe it's a 50 by 50 lot, so yeah, it could work really well in Windenburg maybe if you want it to be residential. But I had a family of 4 in mind that maybe own this property, that come here for the holidays, or, you know, just during the winter or fall, they come here for vacation. And so I had outdoorsy Sims in mind when I built this, and I also really wanted to have kind of like a lake on the side of the building where they could go boating, or, you know, swim in the lake if it's not too cold. And there was another thing that I thought might be fun to do, is to have the ceiling beams, and you can kind of see through the roof into the next floor down, which I thought was really cool, which you'll see later on. So this idea, I kind of stumbled upon it, but I found out that you can actually push the chimney. If you size it up, you can push it halfway between the wall, and what happens is it looks like the it's the stone part of it is just part of the chimney, or not part of the chimney, part of the fireplace. So it looks like it's just one thing, and it's really cool. I think it adds a lot of character to you know, this type of rustic cabin build. I did want it to have some modern aspects to it though, so I added these big modern windows and a few doors. Maybe it was renovated at some point, so it's a little more modern than your average cabin. So some other news that's going on in the channel: I just announced a build challenge for you guys that you can join in, and I'll provide a link down below to that if you'd like to know more information about it. But basically there's 4 themes to it, and you can either do one theme or you can do all 4, but only one of your builds, if you know you enter more than one theme, will be entered to win, basically. And they're all Christmas themed. It's, I think, going to be really fun. I'm also going to do them. And yeah, and then, you know, you could have a chance to win a stuff pack of your choice, which is fun. But if you have all the packs, you can definitely still join in. And if you happen to win and you have all the packs, that's not a big deal. We can just use the pack for another giveaway, or, you know, you could give it to a friend if you don't need it. So there's lots of different options, lots of options. So this cabin is kind of expensive to rent. I think it's like 2,500 simoleons to rent per day. So make sure you use some money cheats, or if you can afford it, then that's fine, you know, whatever. I really liked the idea of using these archways that came with cats and dogs. I used quite a bit of cats and dogs for this build just because a lot of it was a little more rustic, a little more cozy looking. So I used quite a bit of that in this build. Here I am making the deck and kind of laying it out. I wanted it to have a lot of outdoor space that your Sims could enjoy, you know, sit by the fire, maybe eat dinner outside on the deck, and you know, if you want to go swimming in the big lake that I'm drawing now. I had a lake here before, but I wasn't really liking how it was looking, so I redrew it and redid the lake. So I liked this shape a lot better. But yeah, so you could, you know, take your Sims swimming in the lake and then maybe have a bite to eat and eat on the deck. I don't know, I thought that would be really nice to have your Sims enjoy their time. I don't really ever use Granite Falls, so it was really nice to build in the world. It's a beautiful world, but I wish that it had the capability of being residential as well, because, you know, it takes a lot to, you know, take your Sims on quote-unquote vacation, and it would be super nice if it was actually residential, or had the capability of being both. I'm hoping in the future that we're able to get more vacation worlds and that are more varied, you know. But maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't, but it's on my wish list for sure. I thought about putting this wood texture, like this lumber looking wood texture all around the outside, but I decided to keep this wood texture for just the top half of the cabin because I felt like it was just too much and I needed some you know, variation in texture. So I used a different wood paneling on the bottom, and I think it made it a little more interesting than just having it all the same wood texture. I wanted to make sure that this cabin could fit at least a family of 4. It could probably fit another couple or maybe a teenager as well, because there is 2 bedrooms with 2 double beds, and then there's 1 bedroom downstairs with 2 single beds. So you could probably fit like 6 Sims in this. Well, actually, you could probably fit all 8 because I put a tent on the property as well. So yeah, you could fit like a ton of Sims in this cabin actually. So yeah, it could fit a big family or maybe like a big group of friends. Yeah, I think that would be fun. So this kitchen is actually a lot smaller than I originally planned it to be, but I don't really mind it so much. I like that it's kind of cozy and in the corner, and you have like this big, like 2 big windows in front of the sink and the stove, so you can kind of look out into nature. I think that's really nice. One of my favorite rooms in the cabin is actually the living room area. That's where I put the Christmas tree and the presents, and you know, it's just super cozy. I was actually worried that the lighting on the chimney would be really weird since it, you know, is kind of in between the inside and the outside, but it actually ended up not being weird after I pushed it in a little more, so you get the right lighting from the inside as well as the outside. This was kind of an interesting idea I had. I know that some people decorate the railing on the stairs, and I was trying to figure out how to do that without making it look absolutely ridiculous, but it ended up looking pretty good, I think, because I just used the 9 key to lift up the garlands, so they almost overlap as they go up the railing, so it kind of looks like they're wrapped around the railing. So I was really happy with how that turned out. So a good idea for you guys, I didn't do it in this build, but I did it during my live stream, and it was all thanks to my viewers having this idea. But if you're not particularly fond of the colors that come with the Christmas tree, like the actual one, if you just size down a pine tree that you would normally use outside, and then put a little round rug underneath it, and then I used the round like ball-like candles from Dine Out, and I also used the All-Star trophy. So I just used the 9 key to raise up the candles to look like ornaments, and I raised up the star trophy on top of the tree, so it looked like a star on top of the tree, and it actually turned out really, really nice. And I was really surprised about it, and I love it, and I think I'm going to use it in many other builds that I do, because, I don't know, it just looks like it's a really nice tree. Definitely is more simple than this tree here that came with the holiday stuff pack, but I don't know, it looks really nice and minimal almost. So just a tip for you guys, something that I learned yesterday that turned out really nice, and you know, because maybe you need something that's not so festive but is still Christmassy, you know, so you can definitely make your own trees now that we can size down things. So this is the dining room, and I really, really love the idea of having like plaid you know, seat cushions for the dining, because something about plaid just like screams cabin in the woods, outdoorsy, and there's not really a ton of plaid items in game, so I definitely wanted to utilize those for the dining. And another tip for you guys, if you want to decorate with the tree, you know, in other areas of your home, you can size it down and put it on a table or in the bathroom or, you know, wherever you want, and it's just tiny cute little tree. So that could add, you know, a different Christmas decor that you may not have thought of yet. So for the centerpiece of the table, I wanted something a little modern almost, because, you know, this family may have renovated and decorated it to their taste. And another thing I found is that if you want, you know, a quote-unquote garland on the dining table, you can take the little low-lying bushes that you would normally use outside, size them down, and then raise them up onto the table in the center. So it looks, you know, a little bit like a tabletop garland, which I really liked. So this is the kids' room, and they have their own bathroom down here, but the bathroom could also be a guest bathroom. You know, or if you're like down here and you don't want to go upstairs, you could just use this one. But it's a full bathroom, and the kids' room has an activity table, and there's also going to be a dollhouse that's outside of their bedroom, so the kids will have stuff to do that will keep them busy. You know, they'll have toys here. So I was a little worried that the toy box would block the door here, but it ended up not being a problem, so they were able to get into the room with no issues at all. And I thought about putting like a park decal or whatever on top, but I thought it'd be fun to put the kind of worn fish decal that came with cats and dogs in their bedroom, just, you know, for some texture and some color to put on the walls. Yeah, so just a bit of fun. And there's a foosball table also in the downstairs area that your Sims can play with. And I think I put an activity table, for a drawing table for the kids here. So right here's just another seating area. So you can sit there and read or have your coffee and look out into the lake, because on that side of the house is the lake area. So yeah, you can, you know, play for some foosball and sit here, have a nice coffee. And speaking of the lake, I really wish we would have gotten more decorative boats in Cats and Dogs, like maybe a rowboat or a sailboat or something, because this particular boat isn't, I think it's a paddle boat or something like that, but it's not appropriate for all situations, to say the least. But it's the only boat we have, so I just put that, you know, on the dock there. And the lake, I really wanted it to look very natural, so I'm sure you've seen a lot of other simmers do this, but if you just place a bunch of rocks and low-lying plants and little bushes and all that, it really makes the pool look natural and more like a lake. That would be nice to include some loungers here by the lake. I mean, I would like that. Another thing I wanted to do to make the lake look a little more natural was I used these rock formations, which I think they're end tables and like a coffee table. But I sized them up and raised them to make a few rock formations under the water. So I also use like regular rocks too, but I'll just show you a little bit of it because it's very tedious, so I'm sure you won't want to see all of it taking place. I had this idea of putting these shelves right under the window, and then Outdoor Retreat came with these, I guess they're like media? No, they're just little tables, but they looked so cute under the shelf, and I just put some, you know, camping clutter up there and supplies and things like that. And then this is the outdoor seating area, and I struggled a little bit with the coloring of the items, but I ended up with a lighter wood because I felt like the darker woods were blending too much into the floor. I thought about putting a fireplace on the outside as well, and I had this idea about covering the fireplace with rocks to make it look more natural since it's outside. But it ended up not looking how I thought it would, so I ended up scrapping this idea. Next to the dining area on the deck, I wanted to put a fireplace on the outside as well, but I decided that it would be kind of weird to have a fire pit and a fireplace. I know some people have that, but for me it's just kind of weird. I don't know why. So I ended up getting rid of all of that and just having a nice fire pit on the deck there. And here I'm just putting some decorative objects out here on the deck. I love the buoys that came with cats and dogs. I think they're so perfect for, you know, if you're anywhere near the water. Like, I don't know, it's really cute. One thing that is definitely essential, and I'm so happy that we got in Parenthood, are the fairy lights, the string lights. So I decorated a lot of the outside with these because it is supposed to be Christmassy, you know. I thought about putting these fairy lights on the deck part, but they weren't giving off enough light because they don't really, they just kind of glow. So I ended up putting the string lights that came with the toddler stuff instead on the deck part, and you can size them down too, which is great because they fit in more places now. So I wanted the truck to kind of look like it came through some mud, so I added some tire marks to the underside of the truck, and I also wanted to put a tent on the property as well, just in case you have more Sims, or you know, they want to stay outside the cabin but still on the property, especially if the kids want to go out there, so it's a little more safe. So that's what I was kind of thinking when I put the tent on the property, kind of out of the way. So after furnishing the outside and downstairs, I started furnishing the upstairs. So this is one of the bigger bedrooms on the upstairs. So your Sims will have a little bit of difficulty getting into bed, like if you have a couple or something. But typically the Sims will just scooch to the other side of the bed. I noticed when I was testing it for a machinima at the end, one of the Sims didn't scooch, so the other Sim had to sleep in the other room. So I kind of thought, like, maybe they weren't having a good time. Maybe they were having a little argument before bed. But anyway, they're really cozy. They each have their own ensuite bathroom. So yeah, and I tried to make it as like earthy and cabiny as possible without it being too old-fashioned, you know, because I kind of felt like they renovated the cabin over time, so it's a little more modern in that way. But I really love this room because it has a super nice view of the lake with 3 large windows, and it's so nice. The view, can you imagine just sleeping in this room and just look out into the lake and the forest? Like, oh, that sounds so amazing. This is the second large bedroom upstairs, and this honestly has a really great view as well. It has its own balcony, so if your Sims wanted to like sit up there and read, or I don't know, it's just a relaxing type of place. And yeah, so they have access to their own balcony up here. And I saw this one picture of this like cabin room that had a window seat kind of inside the room, and I really liked that idea. So I put that in the corner, and I thought it looked really nice, really comfy. It has a lot of pillows on it and had kind of coordinating colors that went with the rug that I used in there. And then I ended up putting a TV above the fireplace here, just so there's some type of entertainment other than the outside, you know, in case it snows and they're snowed in or something, and they wouldn't be able to access any outdoor activities. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this build. That's going to be it for me today. Next week, of course, will be another Santa Saturday build, and I hope that you're excited for it, because I am definitely. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.